Well, good evening, all of you, and thank you for coming to this special press briefing at a rather short notice. Uh, we are now having, today was the first day of the visit of the, the President of the European Council and the European Commission, and we also had the 14th India-EU Summit earlier today. And to brief you all on the visit and all this on the summit, I have with me Secretary West in the Ministry of External Affairs, Ruchi Ghanshyam. I also have our ambassador in Brussels, Gayatri Isser, and the Joint Secretary Europe West in the Ministry of External Affairs, Nagaraj Naidu. After the briefing, they will also take few questions on this visit and all the summit. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ravish. And once again, a very good evening to all of you. And I want to reiterate what Ravish said, and that is to thank you for coming here at this short notice and also at a slightly odd hour. So let me just read out a few points that we've tried to put together, which may be useful background. The 14th India-EU Summit was hosted by India today in New Delhi. It may be recalled that last year, the 13th Summit was hosted by the EU in Brussels. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi hosted His Excellency Mr. Donald Tusk, President of the European Council, and Mr. Jean-Claude Juncker, President of the European Commission. The European Union High Representative, Ms. Federica Mogherini, the counterpart of the Honorable External Affairs Minister, also participated in the summit. On the Indian side, the talks were led by Honorable Prime Minister, External Affairs Minister, Srimati Sushma Swaraj, and the National Security Advisor, Shri Ajit Doval, along with officials, were part of the Prime Minister's delegation. The talks were held in a cordial and friendly atmosphere. They covered a wide-ranging agenda of mutual interest. This was an extremely productive summit where the two sides agreed to broaden the areas of engagement and cooperation. A joint statement at the end of the talks, issued at the end of the talks, reflects the decisions and areas of convergence. In addition to the joint statement, there were several important deliverables. These would include an India-EU joint statement on cooperation in combating terrorism, a joint declaration between the European Union and the Republic of India on partnership for smart and sustainable urbanization, and EU-India joint statement on clean energy and climate change, India-EU joint statement on clean energy and climate change. In addition, the following documents were agreed and exchanged today. Implementing arrangement between the European Commission and the Science and Engineering Research Board for Indian researchers, hosted by the European Research Council grants, European Investment Bank finance contract for Bangalore Metro Rail project phase 2 R6 for euro 300 million. Joint declaration between Internal Secretariat of International Solar Alliance and the European Investment Bank. EU as a bloc of 28 countries is India's largest regional trading partner. India's total trade in goods and services exceeds $100 billion. So the bilateral trade in goods is it's over 85 billion, while the bilateral trade in services is over 31 billion. Moreover, over the period April 2000 to December 2016, FDI equity flows from EU countries totaled over $79 million at 24.58 of total FDI flows to India. This would make the EU India's largest source of FDI. So I would like to just highlight a few of the points from some of the documents, and you would then find also the texts on the website where you could look for any further details that you may be interested in. So looking at the India-EU joint statement on cooperation in combating terrorism, the highlight of this document, the most important highlight, of course there are many important things in this document. The most important highlight is that for the first time the EU has agreed to mention not just terrorist entities but also terrorists in an India-EU document. So this document, it firstly condemned the recent terrorist attacks in India and member states of the European Union, and it also reaffirmed the determination to jointly combat terrorism and violent extremism in all their forms and manifestations, irrespective of their motivations, wherever and by whomever they are committed. They welcomed the resolve to deepen cooperation on domestic and international terrorist designation listing proposals through exchange of information. So they have agreed to exchange information on domestic and international listing of terrorists and on these proposals basically. The leaders also called for the perpetrators of terrorist attacks, like the ones at Pathankot, Uri Nagrota, Anantnag, Srinagar, Paris, Brussels, Nice, London, Stockholm, Manchester, Barcelona, Turku, and of course they recalled the Mumbai terror attacks of 2008. So the leaders called for the perpetrators of these attacks to be brought to justice. They also supported the comprehensive, early adoption of the. They supported the early conclusion of negotiations and the adoption of the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism in the UN. They recalled that responsible states should take adequate measures to ensure that their territory is not used for terrorist activities. They also this document also speaks of cutting the flows of funds and other financial assets and economic resources to individuals and entities involved in terrorism, including those proscribed under the relevant UN sanctions. So coming to the list, the entities and individuals who have been identified or included in this document, let me read out the whole para. The leaders agreed to strengthen cooperation to take decisive and concerted actions against globally proscribed terrorists and terror entities, including Hafiz Saeed, Zakiur Rahman Lakhvi, Dawood Ibrahim, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen, Haqqani Network, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Daesh, and their affiliates. So that is for this document on combating terrorism. Let me now turn to the India-EU joint statement. So it is a fairly lengthy document, so I'm trying to see how I can cut it short. Well, it recognizes that India and EU are natural partners, and it agrees or recognizes the need to further deepen and strengthen the India-EU strategic partnership based on our shared principles, and I won't repeat the principles because you can find it in the statement. They expressed satisfaction with the progress that has been achieved and the bilateral cooperation that has developed since the last summit. The leaders committed to work in a result-oriented and mutually beneficial manner to further strengthen the India-EU strategic partnership by deepening their trade cooperation, enhancing investment flows in both directions, etc. They commended the strong engagement of the European Investment Bank in India in a wide range of sectors. They reaffirmed their commitment to an open, free, secure, stable, peaceful, and accessible cyberspace, and welcomed the holding of the 5th Global Conference on Cyberspace in New Delhi on 23 and 24 November. They strongly condemned the recent terrorist attacks in many parts of the world. And amongst other things, they emphasized the need to deepen cooperation within the UN and the Financial Action Task Force. On disarmament, the EU congratulated India on its admission to the Missile Technology Control Regime. Then, coming to regional issues, on Afghanistan, both sides, of course, agreed that they expressed support for the government and the people of Afghanistan in their effort to achieve an Afghan-led and Afghan-owned national peace and reconciliation. The EU appreciated the positive role being played by India in extending development assistance in Afghanistan. On Myanmar, amongst other things, they urged the Myanmar authorities to implement the Kofi Annan-led Rakhine Advisory Commission's recommendations and work with Bangladesh to enable the return of the displaced persons from all communities to northern Rakhine state. India and the EU also recognize the role being played by Bangladesh in extending humanitarian assistance to the people in need. Well, on DPRK, both sides condemned the nuclear tests conducted by DPRK on 3rd September 2007. Both sides also stressed the responsibility of those who support DPRK's nuclear and missile program. Coming to connectivity, both acknowledged the importance of connectivity in today's globalized world. They underlined that connectivity initiatives must be based on universally recognized international norms, good governance, rule of law, openness, transparency, and equality, and must follow the principles of financial responsibility, accountable debt financing practices, balanced ecological and environmental protection, preservation standards, and social sustainability. The document refers to India's Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas policy initiatives and reaffirmed the importance of global partnerships to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and poverty alleviation. Okay, so I think I've taken too long. Let me see what else is important. Yeah, they welcomed the establishment of the South Asian Regional Representative Office of the European Investment Bank. They welcomed the new, just a second, yeah, the new Euro 500 million EIB loan agreement for Bangalore Metro Phase 2 project, which is part of EIB's enhanced commitment of 1.4 billion in loans to India in 2017. The leaders also welcomed the imminent operationalization of the 2008 Horizontal Civil Aviation Agreement, which will enhance air connectivity between India and Europe and help foster better people-to-people contacts and promote travel, etc. They agreed to intensify cooperation in skills development. They noted that the EU's Erasmus program celebrated its 500th Indian alumni and has offered financial opportunities for institutional cooperation to Indian universities. 5,000, yeah. Need to work, okay, they recognize the need to work towards greater cooperation in higher education. So I think I should basically stop here. Otherwise, yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now the floor is open to questions. Enjoy.
Ma'am, 2 points. You mentioned it in passing, but can you tell us exactly what the position was of the two sides on the Rohingyas? That's one. And the other point, during his speech a little while ago, Mr. M.J. Akbar was speaking about Prime Minister Modi's address. And in reply to that, Mr. Juncker, perhaps jokingly, mentioned that this was propaganda on propaganda. Would you react to that, please?
No, wait.
Okay, yes, please.
Ma'am, this is regarding the India-EU FTA. President Juncker just said that we don't want to launch the talks just to restart them, but we want to conclude them. What is India's position on that?
Related to the...
Yeah, just related.
Okay.
Smita Sharma from the Tribune, because he also mentioned that the Trade Minister and Trade Commissioner will be meeting soon. Should that be considered the restart of the FTA talks, or will they meet and then take forward as to how to relaunch the talks?
Ma'am, maybe you can take...
No, the previous question, could you just repeat? President Juncker just said we don't want to relaunch the talks just to resume the talks, which are stalled for last 3-4 years, but we want to conclude it, and on which he wanted reaction from the government, it seems.
No, this I know, yeah. But yeah, that's right. So, coming to, where's Srinjoy? He asked the question and then he's gone. Well, coming to BTIA, the the broad-based trade and investment agreement was obviously part of the discussions. There have been some rounds of discussions between the chief negotiators, and now the next round is to be held in November, on November 13 and 14. So, para 32 of the joint statement, let me just read it for you. The leaders expressed their shared commitment to strengthening the economic partnership between India and the EU and noted the ongoing efforts of both sides to re-engage actively towards timely relaunching negotiations for a comprehensive and mutually beneficial BTIA. So I think the joint statement basically answers both your questions. But as I said, the discussions have already been taking place. How many rounds, Gayatri? 4, I think. No? Four rounds have taken place of the pre. No, this recently.
Yes.
4 rounds started this year, no?
Basically, there were 4 stock-taking meetings which took place last year.
But we needn't go into those, Let's, not go into details of those negotiations which are done by the Commerce Ministry. So what I would say that the BTI... No, I won't call it a relaunch. I don't know if one has to call it a relaunch. But the chief negotiators are meeting in November, and they will talk about this. And if you have any further questions, then I think I don't like to do that, but I think it would be unfair on my part to answer on behalf of Commerce Ministry. Sorry. Srinjoy, to come to your question on Rohingyas, I think I would refer you to para 16 of the joint statement. Whatever I can say is said there. And on the speech by MOS MJ Akbar and the response, since I wasn't even there and I haven't even heard it, I don't think I'm in a position to even say anything about it. So I think on that I would pass. Anybody else?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Just to share with you that we have just uploaded the India-EU joint statement on MEA's website. So if you have the connection, you can take a look at the paragraph which Secretary West just referred. Rakesh ji.
थैंक यू मैडम. अभी आपने जिक्र किया ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर्स की बात कही, $100 बिलियन एक्सीड किया है, जो अबाउट $85 बिलियन का जिक्र किया आपने. तो ये पिछले जो 10 वर्षों का जो डाटा है, तो उसमें एक कोई इसकी कंपैरेटिव स्टडी हमारे पास है, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, यूरोपियन यूनियन साइड से देयर आर 28 कंट्रीज, तो उनकी तरफ से कितना हमारे तरफ जो वृद्धि हुई है, इधर जो हुई है, जो इंडिया की तरफ हुई है, वो तो आपने बताया. उनकी तरफ से कितना हमारे यहाँ व्यापार बढ़ा है, उसकी कोई जानकारी हो तो एक कंपैरेटिव स्टडी का अच्छा अवसर मिलेगा और कुछ हम लोगों को इनपुट मिलेगा. धन्यवाद.
Any other query on trade, or ma'am, would you like to take this question and then move on? Okay.
Yeah. इस वक्त तो कोई कंपैरेटिव स्टडी जैसे आप चाह रहे हैं वो तो उतना डिटेल मेरे पास अवेलेबल नहीं है, लेकिन जो मेरे पास अवेलेबल है, जो जानकारी मेरे पास इस वक्त मौजूद है, उसके अनुसार भारत का जो बायलैटरल ट्रेड है EU के साथ, EU 28 के साथ 2016 में जनवरी से लेके दिसंबर 2016 तक, तो ये इसका जो फिगर था वो अबाउट 85 के ऊपर बिलियन डॉलर्स था टोटल ट्रेड का इन गुड्स. इसमें से इंडिया के जो एक्सपोर्ट्स थे वो 43 बिलियन के ऊपर थे, और भारत के जो इंपोर्ट थे EU से वो 41 बिलियन के ऊपर थे. इसके अलावा जो बायलैटरल ट्रेड इन सर्विसेज है वो 28 बिलियन था और 2015 में, और इसमें से भारत के जो एक्सपोर्ट्स थे ईयू को, वो थे तकरीबन 15 बिलियन से कुछ ऊपर थे, और भारत के जो इंपोर्ट थे वो 15 15.94 बिलियन थे. सो अगर देखा जाए तो हमारा जो ट्रेड है वो रीजनेबली वेल बैलेंस्ड है, मतलब दोनों को ही बराबर तकरीबन. 3 साल का फिगर्स तो मेरे पास है नहीं, तो मैं इस वक्त इसलिए आपको उसके लिए तो नहीं अभी आंसर करना पसंद करूंगी, पर आपको हम बाद में कभी आपको ये इन्फॉर्मेशन ज़रूर अवेलेबल करा सकते हैं.
राकेश जी, मैं आपको डिटेल सारी भेज दूंगा, इनके पास है, हम भेज देंगे. यस प्लीज.
यूएन के वर्ल्ड फूड प्रोग्राम मिशंस के लिए भारत की भागीदारी कब तक संभव है और इसमें क्या समस्या आ रही है?
ये
जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट में इसका जिक्र है.
जी हाँ, जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट में इसका एक्चुअली पॉसिबल पार्टिसिपेशन के बारे में कहा गया है, क्योंकि ये इसके ऊपर अभी पैराग्राफ 12, ओके, वन सेक, या it talks of India's possible participation in escorting. तो ये तो काफी जो प्रपोजल है इसका तो अध्ययन करना पड़ेगा. तो अभी तो इसकी पूरी जब हमें जानकारी हो इसके बारे में, इसका हम अध्ययन करें, जो कंसर्न्ड हमारे मंत्रालय हैं या जो डिपार्टमेंट हैं उनकी राय जाने, तो उसके बिना तो हम कुछ कह ही नहीं सकते. सो यही इसकी अभी मैं इस समय तो यही कह सकती हूँ इसके बारे में.
Just a question away from the topic in case if somebody doesn't have a question. The External Affairs Ministry is being accused of...
Only questions related to India, EU.
But that's why I said, because nobody
No,
else
I
has a
thought
question.
related to this. So today we have a panel. I mean, they are.
Can we expect a response on this Deen Dayal Upadhyay e-book controversy?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to take that question. Is there any other question on India-EU summit?
मैम, मैं मनीष हूँ इंडिया टीवी से. अभी आपने थोड़ा बताया भी था रोहिंग्या को लेकर, और हम लोगों ने पैराग्राफ में देखा भी था. जिस समय यूरोपियन यूनियन के काउंसिल के प्रेसिडेंट बोल रहे थे, उस समय उनका कहना ये था कि इंडिया को एज ए नेबर कंट्री इसमें आगे आना होगा. तो मतलब क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन है यूरोपियन यूनियन की इंडिया से इस पूरी इशू को लेकर?
जो भी यूरोपियन यूनियन की जो भी एक्सपेक्टेशन थी वो तो उन्होंने बोल ही दी, और जो अग्रीड पोजीशन है वो जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट में मौजूद है. थैंक यू.
Ma'am, there was an agreement signed to join on the Solar Alliance. They've agreed to join support the International Solar Alliance. Could you share more details about that?
एक तो देखिए, जो हमारा इंडिया EU जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट ऑन क्लीन एनर्जी एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज जो है, उसमें ये इसके बारे में जिक्र है, ISA के बारे में. और इसमें कहा गया है कि both are committed to jointly further the objectives of the International Solar Alliance, including through synergies with other international initiatives to promote renewable energy. And then it also speaks of will explore concrete activities on arranging affordable finance, training activities, and disseminating best practices for solar deployment, as well as on de-risking finance. जैसे कि शायद आपको याद होगा कि नवंबर 2015 में COP21 के दौरान ISA का लॉन्च किया था।